Hi, welcome to the Dry Mass, the Tree Grandmother. I'm your host, Carmen. In the video of today, we are going to talk about the big question. When was really the Pangea and the separation of the continents and what happened? The basis for the following arguments is an Egyptian translation that you can find in the books of the Pious. As we learn, Pious means sons and daughters of Pa. These texts talk about three deliberate impacts against the continent for the sin of disagreement. The heat or the universal flood, whatever you want to call it, it was just 10,000 years ago. And it wasn't a coincidentally asteroid, it was a deliberate impact. In fact, three impacts because it was like a ping pong ball that bounced and hit the continent three times. And what was the reason? A conflict between Asian races, the War of Gods. I call this piece of history, our history, the chronicles of a dead foretold, because all conflicts between existing races transferred to this new planet. Our grandparents only moved their conflicts to a new place. So let's see this translation. The meteorite colliding with a place of many stones, transposing Earth by turning three times. He chose to tear the frame to frighten to the earth for being guilty of disagreement. The god caused three blows to the sphere when maneuvering the second ball to run laps. It means it was one object that we will call the satellite that impact three times. It's very easy to understand that for 5,000 years a race ruled this planet, and they came the race of our mother, which also correspondent by right, and the result is the Great Flood or the heat. But our history is just beginning because after all this, we were created. That's why we are a complete new race in order we don't make the same mistakes that finish in this history. Where can we see the evidence of this satellite? If it's very easy to deduce the trajectory of the satellite in a matter of hours, deserts were created, mountains were raised, and the axis of the equatorial line changed its position from the Mongolia Desert to Mexico. Through this strip of territory, there are buildings that seems to be melted by the high temperatures, and deserts were suddenly appearing. Let's see all this trajectory here. Actually, far where you can see some big deserts, like in a line, it was the direction of the satellite. We have, for example, the whale deserts in Egypt. The skeleton of whales in the desert means that there were oceans nearby that suddenly dried up, or the whales were swept away by the power of a tsunami. And it's exactly in this trajectory. The Tibet, at 3,000 meters over the sea level, there are remnants of marine fossil, which means that the plateau suddenly rose drastically. And exactly we are in this same trajectory in this strip. In Mexico, the Gulf of Mexico, the official science recognized the Chicxulub crater as the impact that causes the extinction of dinosaurs. They are not completely wrong, but I'm sorry to tell you that this crater is just a minor impact of a stone accompanying the satellite. The real impact is the entire Gulf. So you can see in Wikipedia that it's written that the asteroid that hit the peninsula of Yucatan was about 10 kilometers and an impact of 200 kilometers. Well, the area of the Gulf of Mexico is 1,500,500 kilometers. So that was the real impact. And that was one of three. In the Lake Titicaca and Machu Picchu, of course, this is the lake at 3,800 altitude over sea level. And the Machu Picchu culture as well is like in the Tibet, is a plateau that suddenly arose. Why would people choose to live in a such high place with such a bad condition? Maybe it was because everything was flooded with water and they were survivors. It's interesting how their genetics have been adapted to the attitude because they have the highest city in the world with 5,100 meters over sea level, the Rinconada. That is the highest city of humans in the planet. Respect for these people. But let's go back to our history. We were one single continent as both races arrived. And we have here the first wrong translation in some Bibles because the history talks about the Ark of Noah. And if we are using the modern language, we have just one consonant and it can be like Noah name, but you can have Onue as well. That means message. So if you change this word, the translation will be like those who heard the message were saved. So it means that around the continent, they knew that something was coming. And it's just funny because if you search in Wikipedia, list of flood myths, you will see a list of all the countries around the world that they have myths about a great flood and that they survive. So we know that they survived. It was not just one family. We are talking about our survivors around the continent. What we will explore in the next episode is the arrival of our three grandmothers, the arrival of the white race, if you call it like that. They landed in Mexico, and when they landed, the palace were already the gods here, were already the kings here. And that is why they start having hostilities since day number one. But let's talk about this, our history of our three mothers. So that is not a nice story because we will talk about the original sin and the mixed genetic. But this part of our history is part of who we are. So until the next chapter, have a nice day. Bye bye.